See? Lock it in. The quality of the shot is high, and I can hit with power. But if I sway even a little, it fails. Most errors are not caused by your hand. Today, we're going to break down two key concepts: breaking and recovery in your strokes. First, let's focus on breaking. A common issue for amateurs is making unforced errors on shots they should make, simply because they can't stop their motion after contact. This lack of control comes in two forms: either your arm follows through too much, or your body's momentum is unstable. Both are incorrect. When you can't control your body's momentum, you'll inevitably make a mistake. For example, a player we recently coached would loop the ball, but his body would continue moving forward, causing a perfectly good shot to go long. If you're in the right position, you should execute your loop from that stable base. You should only move into the table if the ball comes short. If the incoming ball has a lot of pace and you still lunge forward, you're adding your momentum to the balls. This combined force will almost always send your shot off the table. So, the first rule is to keep your body stable. In table tennis, every phase of your stroke, from the backswing to contact to the finish, requires a stable foundation, like a horse stance. Look at the professionals, their base is rock solid. There's absolutely no unnecessary swaying. Amateurs, however, often rise up, lean left or right, or fall forward after the shot. None of that is correct. For topspin shots, your leg action is simply to maintain a solid, grounded stance. Against backspin, you get down first and then stabilize into that stance, you don't rise up through the shot. Think of it like a car's chassis: a poor one will shake when you accelerate, but a good, heavy chassis provides stability. Even at high speeds, a good car remains stable. I recommend that if you are serious about improving, you must practice the professional's wall sit exercise. Don't just squat casually, as that won't build functional strength. Put your back to the wall and keep your feet parallel and pointing forward. This exercise is incredibly effective. You must do it against a wall so your legs are forced to support you. It's going to be extremely tiring, but it works. Look at any professional player, like Fan Zhendong, their thighs are incredibly thick and powerful. My own thighs are also very strong from years of training. The problem for amateur players is that their legs are too weak. It means that even after you learn to generate power from your hips, your body can't handle or control that force. If your body can't lock in, you can swing your arm as hard as you want, but your core can't support it, leading to errors. For example, you finally learn to use your hips, but if your body can't channel that force effectively, it's useless. When you're standing still, you might not feel your legs wobble, but once you start moving in a match, the weakness is exposed. This is especially true when you try to hit with power. Your body simply can't contain the force from your arm. So, your center of gravity must be stable. Once your legs are grounded, you can generate power that your body can actually control. Otherwise, your frame will fall apart, and the ball will fly anywhere. The same principles apply to the backhand. Many amateur players have excessive body movement and are constantly swaying. Most amateurs fall into two extremes: they either jump around erratically like a firecracker, or they are completely static and don't use their body at all. For instance, on the forehand, they just use their arm. These are the two common patterns. So, since we know you can't be too jumpy or too static, let's discuss the correct approach. For any topspin ball, forehand or backhand, your lower body should remain stable. The movement comes from your upper body. For example, when I loop a topspin ball, my legs are grounded. When I brush the ball, are my legs still grounded? It's the same for a drive. I sink my shoulder, but my legs aren't moving up, down, left, or right. They are stable. You can see when I'm rallying continuously, my legs remain stable. So, when playing a forehand topspin, your center of gravity must be stable. The rotation comes from your hips and waist. For a drive, the rotation is small. For a loop, your legs are still stable, but the range of rotation is slightly larger. There is no vertical or lateral shift in your base. The takeaway is to keep your legs grounded and stop unnecessary body movement. Practice your stance regularly. Furthermore, table tennis is great for your health. You will definitely be more youthful than your peers. For instance, we have students in their 70s who train with us, but they look like they're in their 50s. They are incredibly youthful. So remember, when you play, you're not just hitting a ball, you're fundamentally exercising your body. By practicing your stance, your legs will become stronger, which helps prevent falls in old age and gives you more power in your walk. Second, let's talk about the backhand side. The first rule, again, is to maintain a stable stance. Now, let me ask you, is the center of gravity for the forehand and backhand the same? Let's talk about topspin rallies. The answer is no, they are actually different. For the forehand, your center of gravity needs to be slightly lower because you are looping the ball. When driving the ball, the height is the same, but for a loop, you must lower your center of gravity even more. For a backhand drive, your center of gravity should be stable. However, if you're completely rigid, your movement will look uncoordinated. Therefore, the movement is a forward pulse from your core. Note that it's forward, not upward. Let me demonstrate a continuous rally for you. See my body? The movement is now coordinated. The energy from engaging your core moves forward, allowing you to synchronize with the ball's rhythm. 1-2, 1-2, you are now in sync. Being completely still is wrong, but moving too much is also wrong. So, during a neutral rally without full power, your body should maintain a smooth continuity. Like a steady rhythm, da, 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 da. When you want to generate power, what does your body need? Compactness. During a rally, your motion is continuous. It's a fluid, rhythmic movement. But when you decide to attack, your body must instantly become compact and explosive. Why can't you generate enough racket speed? It's because your body isn't compact. If you try to swing while your body is rotating slowly, your arm will naturally be slow. But with a quick body rotation, you get instant quality. I'm barely using my arm, a fast body rotation naturally accelerates the hand. So, when you prepare to hit with power, your body must initiate the action slightly faster. Second, when you generate power, your body frame must stay compact. Watch this, after the power shot, my body feels like this. But amateurs often let their bodies fly open. The correct feeling is that you are always contained, always compact. The feeling of your body action should be like you're holding the ball with your whole frame. If you can maintain this feeling of holding, your shoulders will be slightly rounded inward. Opening your shoulders breaks this compact frame. When you play, your non-playing shoulder is crucial. Imagine you are holding a large basin, not just carrying it. When you hold the basin, the muscles in your non-playing shoulder engage and lock your frame. Watch my non-playing shoulder when I stay compact versus when I let it open up. Even if your non-playing arm doesn't fly out, the feeling of instability is the same. I'm just exaggerating the motion to make the point clear. This is how many players generate force incorrectly. Usually the playing arm is fine, the problem lies with the non-playing arm and shoulder. So after your shot, your non-playing side must lock in the force. What does this feel like? It's as if someone is pushing against your non-playing side, preventing you from over-rotating. It's like bracing against a wall. You can practice this at home against a wall to feel what it's like. This is an extremely important concept. After your loop, your body should hit a wall and stop. Only by locking in this force can I ensure the ball follows a consistent trajectory. Watch my non-playing side, bam, it locks. It's not a loose rotation. Any bit of wobble will ruin the shot. This might not be an issue in casual rallies, but the moment you try to add power or have a specific intention in a match, the flaw appears. See? Lock it in. The quality of the shot is high, and I can hit with power. But if I sway even a little, it fails. Most errors are not caused by your hand. They're caused by slow anticipation, slow feet, incorrect positioning, a late backswing, poor spacing, rushed timing, or an unstable body. Why can you make the shot when standing still? Because all those other variables are removed. Now, let's talk about braking and recovery with your arm. We'll start with braking, then cover recovery. Let's simplify the concept of a table tennis stroke. Imagine I'm standing on the center line. My forehand stroke simply accelerates from its open backswing position towards this center line. See? From the open position, accelerating towards the center line. It's a semicircular motion. But what do amateurs often do? When they can't generate power this way, they swing upward or too far to the left. Let me show you a motion, and see if it looks familiar. This incorrect direction of force is very common, isn't it? The error rate is just too high because the entire direction of force is wrong. If you feel you can't generate power, you need to work on your timing and use of the incoming pace. You should take a proper backswing to create space, then accelerate forward. Look at where my racket ends up. Why do amateurs swing sideways? Because they don't take a backswing, they can't generate power. So they try to compensate with a longer sideways motion, which just causes more errors. Our motion is from back to front, with no wasted energy. The amateur motion is from the side, across to the other side. This is why a 180-pound person can have less power than me. That's the reason. You're using a lot of effort, but your force is being dispersed. Against backspin, this is even more obvious. Players will swing upward. The main reason for hitting backspin balls into the net is that you're not brushing it properly. The more you swing upward, the less friction you get, and the ball just slips off the racket. You must be confident and accelerate forward through the ball. The opponent's ball is coming towards you, you need to hit it back. This collision of two forces is what we call contact force, and it's the biggest source of power in table tennis. When you use this contact force, your spin is stronger, your power is greater, and your speed is faster. When you want to hit with power and you have time, take a full backswing and accelerate forward. If the incoming ball is too fast or heavy, I won't take a big backswing. I'll use its pace. You don't have to generate 100% of the power on every shot. By using your opponent's pace, your return will be very fast, putting pressure on their recovery. So remember, the key problem often lies in your upper arm. If you don't use body rotation for power, you'll compensate by swinging your entire arm and elbow sideways or downward. On a backspin ball, why do you hit the net? You start to create an upward arc, but then you immediately press down with your arm. You are killing the arc yourself, it's not because the spin was too heavy. So, we must understand the correct trajectory of the shot. I need to keep my elbow and forearm up to create the arc. No matter how heavy the spin is, if you get under it and lift forward, you can clear the net. Let's first solve the problem of getting the ball on the table. Then we can worry about how much power you're generating. First, get the trajectory right. Let me get the ball over the net consistently. Then, I can add speed and incorporate my body rotation. And there's your loop. Another point, if your finishing position is slightly different each time, a little here, a little there, that's perfectly fine. There is no such thing as a perfect, standard stroke. You have to change your mindset. My least favorite students are those who are too rigid, who think a stroke must be at exactly 45 degrees or 47 degrees. In table tennis, there is no absolute correct technique. Why do we teach a standard model when you're learning? Because you need a reference point. Based on that standard model, you can then make adjustments during a match. If the ball is fast, I'll shorten my follow-through. If it's spinny, I'll lift more. You must adapt to the incoming ball, but that standard technique is the foundation you build in the early stages. When we face different types of shots, adjusting from that standard foundation is the key skill. So, a little more or a little less follow-through doesn't matter, as long as it doesn't compromise your power, recovery, and stability. Now, here's another common mistake. Your stroke should stop about a hand's width in front of your forehead. Most amateur players finish their stroke like this, pulling the force backward. You should finish forward, at that hand's width distance. Instead, many players immediately retract their arm, pulling the energy back. The racket head ends up pointing at themselves, and the forearm retracts way too much. The forearm's role is to provide final acceleration and then break the motion, not to aggressively pull back after contact. Don't retract it so much. In many cases, the hand ends up touching the forehead or upper arm. You cannot transfer energy to the ball effectively this way. An incorrect technique might seem fine in simple drills, but it becomes a major problem when you need to rally continuously or move your feet. When I say there's no standard stroke, I mean making reasonable adjustments within the framework of a correct technique. Anything outside that framework is simply a technical error. Alright, let's talk about recovery, starting with the backhand. A common problem is that after the first shot, the preparation for the second shot is always rushed. The biggest issue right now is that you hit the ball, and then you follow the ball's path back with your racket. By the time you start your backswing again, the next ball is already on top of you. This is why your game feels choppy. Your recovery time is far too long. In a match, after you play a shot, you must recover instantly. After a forehand loop, recover instantly. So, let's discuss how you can start fixing this problem. When you're doing fixed point drills, focus on this. Hit, then recover immediately. You need to first train this feeling of rapid, in-place recovery. Hit, recover, recover, recover. It's not hit, pause, that's incorrect. You need to think of the stroke and the recovery as one complete motion. The action isn't finished until you have recovered. Don't worry about, what if he hits to my backhand in a match? You're overthinking it. First, master the recovery in a fixed position. Then, master it when alternating between two spots. Then you'll be able to handle it. The same goes for the backhand. It's not a disconnected 1, 2, 3, 4. It must be a continuous 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It has to be that fluid. Hitting the ball and recovering is one complete action. The second point is that your recovery motion must be relaxed. Why do so many players have problems with recovery? Because they are already tense on the backswing. If you start tense, you have no room for adjustment. So when you rally, watch my recovery after the shot. It's relaxed. The common mistake we see is being tense through the entire motion. Every player who rushes their timing is guaranteed to be tense on their backswing. Why? Because they're in a hurry. Their rhythm is wrong from the very beginning of the backswing. The true essence of table tennis is this: a loose and relaxed backswing, an explosion of speed at contact, and then a relaxed recovery before the next explosion. In fixed point drills, you must proactively bring your racket back to the ready position, not wait for the ball to arrive before you recover. This passive, waiting style of recovery is not suitable for technical training. In a match, it's different. After my serve, I have to read my opponent, so I recover to a neutral position, see where the ball goes, and then execute my loop. But right now, in your training, if you are a beginner, you must practice with fixed drills. If the ball is pushed to my forehand, I get into position and loop.